Okay, back with a new show on FX Network called SnowFalls Season 5, Episode 1. It starts off in the summer of 1986 at University of Maryland. Early in the morning, they show some college boys getting high, snorting cocaine. And one guy, named in particular Lynn Bias, he was a college basketball star. He was getting ready to go pro soon. And they was up to the wee hours snorting cocaine, and he collapsed. And he died from an overdose of drugs. And everybody was shocked the next day. When it hit the airways that he had passed. He had died from he had OD'd on drugs. And then they showed Franklin. He got a new girlfriend by the name of Veronique, and she also pregnant. In her early weeks. It also showed Franklin he got a new business partner named Grady. He took over from Reed, from Reed's position when they let Reed go. So he's the person Franklin would be getting his drugs from. And Peaches, he's still his bodyguard. And Peaches is battling some kind of summer cold. Wonder what that's all about. And then they showed Jerome and Louie. They riding horses. They moving on up, living a good life. They own their own, doing their own thing. And then they show Leon, he's still in the hood running his own business, beating people up if they cross him. And they show Franklin friend Rob. He's having a house party, and they sitting around getting high. Everybody's snorting cocaine. And some guy walk up and start snorting the cocaine, and another guy was like, well, who told you can do that? And then the guy said something slick to the boy, and he was so high and paranoid. This is one of Rob's friends. He shot the boy, killed him, and then everybody took off running out the house. And then he was talking about he shouldn't have been messing with him. He was paranoid off that cocaine. And then it hit the airways the next day that it was a house party, and somebody was killed, and they don't know what happened. But Franklin was listening while he was working out, and he realized it was over at Rob's house. So he had that look on his face. Oh, this finna be a problem. And then they show Reed. He's back in town in disguise, trying to get his position back because the CIA let him go. And Reed, he feels like the operation is him. If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't be no operation. So he's there starting trouble. And then there's a new set of cops, and one by the name of Bo busting everybody. And he can't find no evidence on the people he's busting. And Franklin, he's worried about his friend, that he may have opened up his mouth and told the business because he's strung out real bad on drugs. And Franklin go pick up Rob and take him to a undisclosed location, some house, and leave him there. But come to find out, Wanda's staying there as well, because Wanda didn't have nowhere to go. So Franklin let Wanda stay there. So they was telling, Peaches was telling Wanda she need to watch him. And she was like, And then, she realized he was strung out. And, she was telling him he can do it. He can get clean and, turn his life around. And then the next day, Rob trying to sneak out the house, and Franklin was sitting there in the living room waiting on him. And, Franklin was telling him, I want you to get clean. And then Rob was like, yeah. And Franklin ended up slapping him. I was like, oh, wow. And then they go for a ride to find the guy, Rob's friend that shot the boy. And they show up at the house, and then the guy gonna pull his gun out because he see Peaches with his gun. He said, "No, that's my bodyguard." And so they go in the house and start talking or whatever. But Rob put out his gun, and the guy was like, "Oh, please don't kill me," begging for his life. But Rob go ahead on and shoot him because he was a problem. So they go somewhere out, look like out in the desert somewhere. I want to say they was in Vegas, but I'm not for sure. I have to go back and watch it. And they start digging the grave for the boy. And then um, Rob was standing there just getting high, getting high. And then Franklin ended up shooting him. He said he had to do it. He hated, to, but he said he had to. He was strung out, and he probably had opened up his mouth and said something, put the business in jeopardy. He said he got to protect what was his. And Peaches was so shocked. Peaches was like, "What?" And then they showed Wanda. Wanda got a job. She doing sex calls, and she hates her job. She says a lot of widows. There's a lot of crazy men on the phone, and she said she didn't like talking, dirty to them because they be talking some weird stuff. And then they showed the cop by the name of Bo over at Louis' club, trying to get a lead on any kind of case or any kind of information on somebody that he can give to his boss because he about to get fired. They own him because all those arrests he been making, and they can't find nothing on the people. And he told Louis, "I've been protecting you for a long time. It's time for you to start paying up." So I think they kind of grew up together. The way that he talks. So at first I thought maybe that was her brother or something, but I think they grew up together. They real good friends, and that's about it for season episode 1.